This week on the podcast, we share what games the young ones are really looking for this Christmas, and the results may surprise you. We also chat about our approach to getting the best deals this holiday season. And on this week's Pixel Picks Showdown, we named the best free-to-play game. All this and more on the Pixel Parents podcast. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Pixel Parents podcast, the show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I am your host, Liam Kelvin, and today I'm of course joined by the bearded one, Scott, the tastemaker. Curry, how are we, Scott?
I'm very well. I'm also certain, and our viewers or our listeners can go back and hear this, but I'm sure you said the Pixel Parents podcast.
Probably did.
And I'm voting for a name change here because the Pixel Parents podcast makes no sense and is so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very well, considering that I've had a weird night's sleep, which I'll get into very soon. But all things considered, work is still work, games are still gaming, and we've no longer got snow. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad. As the meatloaf said, you know, God rest his soul. But
God, aye.
I know we forget he came and went like a bat.
That's a sign of age that I'm forgetting about celebrities that have since departed this mortal coil.
I love that meme where it's like John Lennon dead at 52, and it's like kind of children sent their parents John Lennon dead at 52, and they're like, oh my God, what? It's just like they've forgotten. But I don't know how many more ways I can frame this, but I'm all right. I'm getting on with life, and you know, Grand Theft Auto 3 is deep in my soul, which I'll be more than happy to divulge soon. But how are you keeping yourself?
Good, yeah. It's been a busy week.
You've had a very busy week.
A lot of changes out of nowhere, and just dealing with that. So I'm quite tired actually this evening. Long story short, I suppose we're looking to move house, so that's just came about in the past week or so. Are we off our head doing it just before Christmas? Probably.
Never.
But,
there's never a good time to move house.
It's true. Somebody said that to me about having kids.
Aye.
It's like it's never a good time. Like you're never, was it financially ready or mentally ready, whatever you want to kind of chalk it up. It's like it's just going to happen. But yeah, we've just been really getting everything packed, cleared away, getting ready to sell this house, and yeah, it's an adventure. Because of that, my gaming times probably came down a bit, but we have promised each other to make time for downtime in between it, even if it's just an hour. I think we both need that. Just the type of personalities that we are. Yeah. So it's like we definitely both need that. So.
It's therapy. You're going to be doing your best John Goodman impression soon as well, jumping into that garage.
I will. Yes, fans of arachnophobia will know exactly what he's talking about, because my garage is just home to every spider. I'm
honestly
area.
Like from that one that we saw at your front door like a month or so ago. If there's anything like that, burn the place to the ground, raise it, and then just start again.
I rather would than deal with it. That's my one phobia. Every time I go in that garage, I freeze.
It'll be like that scene from Wukong where you kill that boss and then all the spiders just start running towards you. It's like a big wave of spiders chase after you.
You've just made sure I never play that game.
I'll show you it later. It's cool, man.
I was at Call of Duty Zombies mode, and they had an arachnophobia filter in it with like some mad spider-like enemies, and that was a game changer.
It's just now balloons. Tiny balloons that you shoot.
Can't do it, man. Can't do it. But I suppose crippling fear and anxiety whilst playing games, I'll have more to touch on as well as we go on.
Ooh.
Before we do, I suppose we should get some housekeeping out the road. So for those listening, this is the Pixel Parents podcast, a weekly podcast by parents who game for those who do the same, where each week we discuss all things gaming while raising little ones. If you want to be part of the podcast, come say hello and share your thoughts with us at pixelparents.bsky.social on Blue Sky, or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear and you want to support the show, you can leave a 5-star review and share this podcast online with your friends. That really helps us out. And of course, thank you to everybody that joins us each and every week. We appreciate you. So with that all out the way, Scott. So it says I'm very tired. What have you been playing this week?
See, before I get into this, can I just also say thank you to everyone that's actually followed us on Blue Sky?
Yes.
If you've made your way over from Blue Sky to the podcast or whatever, it's class. Like seeing people following the podcast, joining all your wee starter packs and stuff as well. So
yeah.
Dankeschön to all the real ones out there.
Absolutely. It's nice to kind of meet new friends, build up that community, and again, just kind of feel the love, feel everything grow. And it's cool to discover things. Like I'm discovering lots of new people. There's lots of cool podcasts and just even individuals out there that are tweeting and sharing a lot of cool stuff on it.
It's a cool place to be.
It is.
So yeah, that's all out the way. I'm ruining it though because I'm putting all my Grand Theft Auto 3 nonsense on there, which is where I'm going to start and probably finish, because all I have been playing this week since we finished the podcast last week was Grand Theft Auto 3, the definitive edition. I have collected every single hidden package in this game.
Wow.
I have done all the import and export cars. I've done all the unique jumps. I have done everything else in terms of the vigilante missions. So I've done the paramedic ones, the police ones, fire engines. I've still to do 100 taxi journeys.
Oh my God.
I can't bring myself to do it. I just can't do it.
That's oddly triggering.
Yeah. And I've still got maybe about an hour left of the actual main game itself, which is surprisingly short. I think when it tells you how many missions are in it, it's like 72 or something like that, which seems like a lot, but you're finishing these missions in like a minute.
Yeah.
If that, like you're firing through it at this point. But key points to take away from my first playthrough of Grand Theft Auto 3 since its release back in whenever it was. 2001. I cannot, and I say this with all the sincerity in the world, I cannot keep any car in that game. Like, I crash and explode every car. It is brutal. They flip like nobody's business. It's just that's what they're made for. Is just to flip. But you know, I hate playing it. Like it's one of those things where
what a review.
It's just I'm not enjoying it, and I think it's because I know what I've got coming up. Like I've committed to doing the whole series, and as I've said before, Vice City is my favourite Grand Theft Auto. I love Vice City. I love the vibes in it, the music in it is just.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what's spoiling it for me. I'm looking at what's to come from like the radio stations and stuff, and it's like, see, looking at all the songs that are on like Emotion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I now understand why my music taste is the way it is. It's like Never Too Much by Luther Vandross, Keep On Loving You by Toto and stuff like that. It's just like, oh my God, I can feel it. Like I know exactly why I've become this way. But the music in Grand Theft Auto 3, I was telling you this earlier, it's like there's 3 songs on one of the channels. I think it's like Flashback.
Yeah.
And it's I listen to Flashback because that and Double Clef FM for the classical music, because those are the only 2 channels that really have anything worth listening to on it. Unless you're a fan of Royce da 5'9".
God, this is taking me back.
Yeah. But the more I play it, so I'm not enjoying my time with it. It's not a great game, but I can understand why it's viewed the way it is. Like from a game that came out in 2001 to do what it was doing, it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of judging that on modern standards, aren't you? Like,
So like it's not got the sensibilities of a modern game, and I think if you had put them in it, it would have lost some of the charm that it has. But the kind of the more I'm making my way through it, and the more I think about it, there's a lot to love in it. Like the city is really the shining star of the whole thing. Like, and I think that's the reason why Claude, or if that's his name, you know, the pro tag is, you know, that's why he's silent, because it just shines this light on the entire city, and it's brilliant. And I can remember, honestly, I could drive you around that whole city the whole way through it, and I could tell you where everything is. I could get you to the stadium from Portland Island. Like I could get you there, no bother. Ray Machowski, I will die for that man. But it's just I'm honestly I'm loving parts of it, and it's just like it's nice to play it. And I can remember being in Staunton Island where the stadium is and just fanning about there for hours. Like I can see that so vividly in my head.
Yeah.
Couldn't have told you that there was a third island in that game. Couldn't have told you that there was. But the only other thing that I want to mention is why put a plane in that game?
The dodo.
The dodo. Why put it in that game if you can't fly it properly?
Yeah.
Like I don't have any memory of it because we all did the flying car cheat to get over to the other island. But if you've ever tried to fly that dodo, and if you haven't for a long time, go back and try it because it is brutal. You cannot fly it. You cannot fly it. It's horrible. And one of the import exports wants you to get it from one side of the map to the other side of the map. And you can't do it, so you end up just driving it through the tunnels. Just driving it like a car. So I think in the Platinum journey, I've got... So one of the missions is get 100% in the whole game.
Yep.
Finish the last few story missions, and then the taxi missions, and that'll be me. So I think that by tomorrow, if not, the next day, that'll be it done, and then I can finally move on to the main course. The way that I've tried to frame this and kind of the stupid summary that I've come up with is that Grand Theft Auto 3 is like your first attempt at making a cake that you've never made before. It tastes all right, but it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Your second time that you make it, that's where the fucking that's where the genius comes into it. Then the third time, just you've maybe burnt the edges a wee bit, but it's still good. But I'm enjoying my time with it, and it's nice to play it because I've not played Grand Theft Auto for a very long time, so it's good to go back. And I think you said it a few weeks back where the definitive edition's got a lot of hate and a lot of sort of abuse for it, and I think there's a lot in there that is it's bad, and I think when it released it was really bad, but for everything that I've done in it, I've not had any crashes, I've not had any glitches, nothing else has come up, so I don't really have anything more to complain about other than it's just not great, but it's alright.
Yeah, I mean it's we understand the impact that it had at the time. I remember playing it, go to my friend's house and stuff to play GTA 3, and it absolutely blew everyone's mind because it's first of its kind, really. So, what so the rest could run, and for that, its legacy is all important. But you're right, it's felt like the prototype for what it could go, and then Vice City upped it in the sense that they get the celebrity voiceovers. Don't get me wrong, there's still celebrities in GTA 3. You've got the guy, I forget the guy's name, he played Ralphie in The Sopranos.
Joe Pantoliano or something like
that. That's right. He voices, is it
Luigi?
Aye, so, and I think also the guy, Michael Rappaport, is he in it as well? Sure he is.
He plays, it's not Salvatore, it's the other one, because Salvatore's the other guy.
It's his son, the mechanic.
Aye, Joey,
that's it. But I mean, it's the calibre of it, but it's the way that, Ray Liotta voicing Tommy Vercetti and that as well. And they just basically took every 80s pastiche and just made it fun. And
that's it. You're just living that 80s lifestyle, and the city shines in that as well. But I think that's where they really nail the characters in it.
Yeah,
like the cast of characters and the actual storyline within that whole thing is just, it's the best that there has been, I'd say, until 5. But I'll come back to that because I'm on my journey now. But
Absolutely.
I'm also now wanting the Grand Theft Auto Witcher. What the hell am I trying to say? I want to play The Witcher 3 more than anything else.
Oof.
So
lining up all these belters.
Yeah, but as I said to you, I said this to you before. Buy a brand new PlayStation. Oh my God, we're failing. Buy a brand new PlayStation to play all these older games. It's ridiculous.
I know. But sometimes I think you kind of go through that comfort food phase, though, don't you? And I think what you're doing, setting yourself a challenge and almost gamifying this kind of return journey is a really good way to do it because you're incentivizing. It kind of means that you're not just kind of having a wee bit of tourism. You're just like, no, I'm actively wanting to kind of go. It's giving you that motivation to see it. I mean, is there anything else you played this week? Or has it just been GTA 3?
It has literally just been Grand Theft Auto 3. No, in fact, I lie. Back to obviously the reasons why we do this podcast and talk about gaming time with the wee ones. My daughter we were. I was showing them Microsoft Flight Simulator, so I'm like, let's go and fly over our house, and then you try and bring the plane down and crash it directly into this. Like, oops. But when I were turning it off, she spotted the one game that I cannot turn back on again. I can't do it.
Right.
And she's like, what's that? It's all right, okay, I'll show you. Turned it on. Stardew Valley.
Oh, God.
So, oh, my God. Please don't do this to me. So she's like, what is this? And so I was showing her what it was, showing her our farm. And she's like, can we make a farm? And that was it. So every single night now, for a good half hour, 45 minutes before we're so bedtime and stuff like that, we are on there doing our wee jobs in the farm. I think we're still on like day 2, just clearing stuff, but like I can't do this. It's like in my head, I'm like holding onto my chair like that, shaking, but she's loving it, and it's great to see her. Like, she knows how to use the Xbox controller. I think with the Pro controller on the Switch when we've been playing Mario, she's kind of got used to it. So, aye, Stardew Valley. It's like,
I can appreciate it, and that's exactly the reason why I'm not showing the kids Animal Crossing. So my daughter and I, we played it in the pandemic, but my son's never seen it. There's a book. I remember buying the guides for it. This is almost like a memento of it all, and he likes looking at that. And I'm like, yeah, it's just a book. Like, I can't. I've put my time into it, and it's like I just can't. But at some point, I would love it if he could do it himself. But the problem is with these farming games is you have to kind of keep track mentally of what you're doing. So you need somebody to kind of guide you through it.
Like, I would love to get back into playing it and go back to like my first farm, Benji Farm.
Oh yeah,
that farm was started pre-child, you know, like before she was born, but. I looked at it today, so I was like, let me show you my first farm. Put on the Switch, 51 hours. And I was just like, no idea what I have down here. Like, picking up blueberries from the greenhouse. I've got the monster garden down the bottom. I've got my sheep and my cows. And I was like, what did I name them all again? Looked at the first one, Yamcha. I'm like, Goku the chicken. Yep. I'm like, yep, I've gone through all these and named them all. Dragon Ball Z characters. And then I was showing my wife one. Clicked on the chicken. Tits. I was like, oh my god.
Oh man, I love that.
Turn it off. We'll turn it off now.
Oh, I hear that chicken's a handful. No, yeah, I think well, to kind of leap off that point, is same thing this week. My son's now really predominantly playing games handheld, and that's became a thing he does. As soon as he gets up from nursery, it's like, can I play this? And it's like, originally I was the gatekeeper. So it's like, ask your dad, he'll do it. So it's like, I could be like, no, do this first. It was great. So I could get them to clean up stuff and all that, and then give them that as a reward. And he's great because he'll actually play it for like 20 minutes and he'll put it back in the dock and he'll go play with his toys. And he keeps doing that, which is good. So I don't have to like kind of wrestle it off him.
Yeah.
But now my wife has remembered how to work the console, so she can now be gatekeeper. So I walk into the room. Sometimes he's just sitting there, just chilling, lying down. Well, all right there, Chief, you having a good time? And I remember he was like, Dad, I can't do this. Can you do this for me? It's like playing Mario Wonder again. And I'd take the Switch back in my hands, and I swear to God, I could have held it upside down. It would have stuck to my hand. I was like, come on, mate. So look at the state of this. It's a midden. Pure wiping it, and I hate it. Like, I'm the type of person, like, if you even touch a crisp and handle a controller, the oil would just send me fucking doolally. But I had to sit and have a talk with him. I was like, look, you need to look after it because this is the console. Like, if this breaks or anything like that, you can't play the games anymore. And I feel like such a party pooper, but it's like I kind of have to instill that in him, like, look after your things. And just kind of sitting playing that, and he's been hot between that, still in Mario Odyssey and Link's Awakening. Really likes that to the point it was actually quite cute. He's got like they've both got like this kind of toy brush type thing and like a mad light up foam thing for fireworks. So he actually put that behind his neck in his t-shirt. That was his sword.
His sword, that's cool.
So he's might have asked Santa for a sword for Christmas, which is going to be fun. But he's almost like playing that, and he can't really do much in it because it's puzzles and that. But he still likes exploring it, and all I hear in the corners him dying again and again. But I like the fact that it's sparking the imagination, and he's still balancing that out, which gives me hope.
Yeah.
Which also, absolutely keeks all over. Like my parents' generation, it's kind of like kids don't want to do anything today; they just want to sit and play games. Like they want to still use their imagination and play, and we're witnessing it. But I was sitting there, my wife and daughter were out at dancing the other night, and not that dancing, it was just a dance class for kids. And so me and my son were just chilling. He's sitting playing the Switch, and I was just watching a YouTube video, and it was a retrospective on the Tony Hawk series. I was just like, yeah, kind of sit and watch that. Dad, what's that? So I had to download Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, and I was like, yeah, this is great. I forgot how much fun I had with this because it was like out in the pandemic as well.
Yeah.
And obviously gave him a go. Good grief.
Oh, man.
Good grief. Even though that game is so simple, but again, he's only 4, so I've got to give him time. But I'm just sitting there explaining, like, you have to do this and jump and grind and all the rest of it. But he ended up just like the downhill levels. I'm like, do you know what? Just let him do it. But he was more interested in the skateboarding aspect of it. It's like, can I do a skateboard? And it's like, you can if you want, but if you've inherited balance from your old man, you've not got much chance, mate, to be honest, to tell you. But outside of that, I've put Dragon Age down this week because I had been browsing some Black Friday sales. And I purchased Alan Wake 2. Long last.
The greatest message I think I've ever received.
Yep, I'm braving it. So I nabbed it in a cracking deal. It was like £32, I think it was I got it for, the deluxe edition. So it came with the remaster plus all the DLC. Fantastic. Of course, got it in PS5, so I'm taking advantage of the PS5 Pro.
Pro enhancements.
Even though I think, well, there's been a bit of scuttlebutt about that. Like, it's not been applied great. You could have fooled me. I think it might be one of the best looking games I've ever played. And that's quality and performance. I think Remedy have went about it in a different way. So there's not like a pro mode where they take the two things together and compromise. I think they're still going down like ray trace type performance mode.
Yeah.
Which is great. Absolutely stunning.
So is that the way you're playing it in performance then?
Yeah, I always will tend to pick performance over quality. I don't mind kind of losing a little bit of the clarity in favour of that. But it's the PS5 Pro really flexes on that game. Really does. I'm sure you mentioned that before. Like, it's one you're looking forward to going back to and playing. I don't want to give my full thoughts on it though, because it's clearly a game that must be consumed in its entirety. It's a bit like me just eating the side dish and not the main thing together. And it's like, how was your entire meal?
But how was the side dish though?
Good.
How's it been so far?
It's been good.
It's like when the server comes over in your mid-meal and you've got a big mouthful of it and you're like, how's your food? And you're like, whoa.
Bloody hate that.
I'm fine. Whoa.
Try not to spray you
Don't
with mashed
look at me.
potatoes.
The shame.
They do it on purpose.
They
man.
do, aye.
They must. But I think it's clearly very, very good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very much getting pulled along, happy to go on it. I've put in about 9 hours so far into the game, which has been impressive considering I've not really had much time this week, but the portal's been fantastic and it plays great on that. It's tense as all hell. I'm not the survival horror guy because I'm a coward, as we've documented on this podcast. I'm not the survival horror person at all, but I'm persistent. I'm kind of going up through it with the mindset of like, just like I got through The Last of Us and stuff, which is kind of the same thing. This is probably a bit closer to your Resident Evil 2 remake of sorts at points. And I know there's going to be something that's going to absolutely scare the bejesus out of me at some point, and I know you know. I know you know. But I can't confirm. But, you know, I've had a few moments in it where I have been exhausted by it because it's not my type of game, horror stuff, because I get far too invested in it in the moment to moment, just the minutiae of walking about. But I have to say, I'd like really enjoy my time with it, and I think I'm intrigued by the world. It's such an improvement on the first game, which I played back in the day. Thank you, Magazine Height, for that one. And I thought the first Alan Wake was as 6 out of 10 a game as I've ever played. You know what I mean? It had cool concepts and stuff.
I think concept-wise, it's like 9, 10 out of 10, but delivery is really what brings it down.
That's it. I think the weakest part of the game is not why I'm playing it. You know what I mean? I'm playing this for the characters and the story, the atmosphere, all that stuff, and the exploration side of it. I'm not playing it for the combat.
Yeah, I don't think you do. Like, I couldn't tell you much about the combat,
No, it's just there,
and it is.
like,
It's just part of it. But you really are playing it for, and it's parts of games that I hate. You're playing it for like the world that you live in,
Yep.
and like the story and stuff like that, the characters, the narrative, even just the atmosphere of it all. Like, it's just
dripping in it.
it's class. So
absolutely dripping in it.
I'm choking to get back and play it, but it's cool to see that you're making your way through it. It's the big set pieces in it that really fucking hit hard. Like,
yeah, they do, and I won't say where I'm at yet. I'm about a third of the way through the game, I'd say. I'm sure I'd ask you how many chapters there are. So I'm about a third of the way through. I know you've got Saga and Alan's kind of individual like chapter set to go through. So I'm just like really just enjoying it for what it is. I think it's clearly got a lot of really cool creativity oozing out of it, and it's a multimedia like experience. I like how they're mixing up music and film and live action and
Sam Lake's big face.
Sam Lake, of course, like just having coffee, everything all together mixed into one. So, you can see his influence all the way through it. And it's great. I'm just like, it feels confident at this point, and I'm happy to go along with the ride just to see how far this goes at this point. So I will report back.
Yeah.
I'm very keen to finish this. I'd love to finish it this week, but I think I might be kidding myself on with everything I've got going on. But we're doing that thing, making use of the portal.
Yeah, I should do
a lot more, and it's just been great for that. And there's a lot of cool accessibility options I've added into it as well, I should add. So you can play this game now in invincible mode, effectively, or unlimited reloads if you want to. So I know that if I get very exhausted by it, I can switch that on, and you don't get penalised on trophies and stuff.
Yeah,
which
that's
I take
good.
my hat off to.
That's really good, actually. Yeah.
So if you really did just want to jump in like me and just experience the story, you can. Not done it yet, but I feel really good knowing that there's a safety net there for me, because
that's always nice to know.
Type of player that I am. Outside of that, I do have. I have to get the soapbox out.
Oh God!
To get the soapbox out. Just allow me to wet one's whistle here.
He's wetting it. Oh my God! It's soaking wet.
Jesus, this is a family show. I hate to tell you, Scott, but I must talk about Marvel Snap.
Oh, right.
And I have concerns. Right? And this isn't a rant. It's a genuine feeling, and I feel, to kick it off, I feel that we are now officially in the decline phase of this game.
The death throes.
And I say this as someone who has played it every day since the official launch, just over 2 years ago. Now, let me take you back. A week ago, they launched the event, Deadpool's Diner, right? The infamous Deadpool's Diner, which is a doubling stakes mini event mode. And at the top of that, they'll get loads of free rewards. All you have to do is just win and earn your way through it. And there's a new card unlocked, right? Which is a very rare thing in Marvel Snap, because the card acquisition is toilet. So it's really bad. And being the resident whale of Marvel Snap's like, yep, I will take up your offer. I'll play the game.
Resident whale?
Yep, the resident whale, as they call it in these games. And I remember last week you had asked me if I'd ever considered making content exclusively about Marvel Snap. Of course, it's like, no, because we don't have time. And B, modes like Deadpool's Diner remind me why I wouldn't do it.
Right, okay.
It is just like, it's trash. And the whole community, this isn't just me being like, oh, I'm not winning as much. It's not that. It's just the whole community now is really starting to, there's a sense of negativity around the game building up. And I don't think it's any coincidence coming after the likes of Pokemon coming out.
Yeah.
And then you've got games like Balatro with all these options. With Marvel Snap, it feels like you're getting squeezed for every nickel and dime. It's not as fun to play. So that's the first thing. It's not as fun to play. The meta on it is now all surrounded about being a dick. It's all about stopping your opponent from playing, as opposed to you having fun.
You having fun and doing it.
Battling each other based on the highest score you can get.
Right, okay.
So that's a big issue. That's a big problem, because if you're not playing in a certain way to stop your opponent, you're going to have a really bad time in the game. You're going to have a bad time either way because it's not fun.
Right, okay.
Like playing it, it's like, oh, cool. I've discarded your hand. I've milled your deck. It's just, it doesn't feel great. It's not what it was 2 years ago where you're just trying to get these cool combos going off and really just try to think outside the box, and it rewarded you for creative play and deck building. Now it's just, right, okay, YouTuber deck 1 versus YouTuber deck 1. It's just, that's all it is. Because if you can't beat them, you have to join them.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's happening is because the card acquisition, which I've mentioned many times before, but is now at the point where the whole community is very much like, no, this is terrible. They announced, so the way Marvel Snap works is that they have their cards in groups of series. So you get your Series 3, Series 4, and Series 5 cards. Also, 1 and 2 is like when you just start the game. Then you'll get Series 3, and then you'll have that pool of players. But once your Series 3 complete, and you're looking at Series 4 and 5, which are the expensive cards, ones you'll have to use tokens and resources for, including real life money, to get those resources. That's where it becomes very much not fun. And the acquisition's so poor, they announced a series drop for the first time. So they released 52 cards in a year, Scott. So it's like a whole deck, one a week, including some events. And the vast majority of them will have you using max resources to get that. Whether it is, you get a 1 in 4 chance to get the card with your spotlight keys every week. And effectively, if you play regular like I do, you'll get 1 to 2 keys a week. So you do the math. And then on top of that, it will cost you 6,000 tokens to just buy it outright for that week only when it's spotlight. That could take you 4 weeks, 6 weeks to get 6,000 tokens if you're not buying them. So it's not good. And what I'm noticing is, and I wanted to bring it up on this just because I wanted to see if any of our listeners are experiencing the same thing, but also just to put it in the radar. If they've ever listened to us before and it's like, oh, I've heard him talk about Marvel Snap, we'll give it a bash. And right now, I wouldn't recommend it.
Marvel Snap, aye?
Yeah. I'm playing it through that sunk cost. Like, was it sunk cost fallacy? You're just kind of like, I've put too much time and money into this game now. And I'm not at the point where I'm like, I can walk away from that because of that investment. Because it's going to take a lot for me just to be like, I'm cool with that because I'm walking away from a lot there.
You're like that guy shoveling NFTs on Twitter.
It's like, I really am.
I'm still doing it, damn it.
They're still cool. It's just one of those ones where it's a poor meta, bad acquisition, greedy monetization. Like some of the
it's not really something that's ever been like that before, though. Like I know you've spoken about there being issues, but there's never been a point where you've been like greedy monetization. It's never been like that's been a big issue, and now it is.
Yeah,
it's like, is there a way to fix it?
There is, which is they have to overhaul those. They have to overhaul the card acquisition because in doing that, it fixes the meta. Right now, the meta is almost on a week-to-week basis, and there's some cards in the game that if you were to pick it up now, it's like, I'll go back to playing like a Devil Dinosaur deck or something. You get your ass handed to you. Even this week, they released a new card, God the God Butcher, completely cracked. It's going to get nerfed, and that's the other problem. They keep going back and tweaking cards just after they're released, and it's usually after people have spent money and resources on it. So you ask yourself, is people not testing this? And it's important in card games. It's like you have to get the balance right, and you will get things, you will have changes. They try to take the approach that they do it on purpose to shake up the meta.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I'm so disappointed by it, and I'm feeling that player resentment, and I'm noticing it in the prominent content creators. They're getting really peed off for this game, and actually they're starting. I've seen ones drop it completely now, which has been shocking over the past few weeks because it does feel like, oh, the party's over, and they're moving on to other games or back to old games like Magic. You'll have Scott breaking his microphone. You'll have like ones like Magic. You'll also have things like Pokemon. You name it. People are just going in their droves, which is a sign of a dead game because gamers will either get pissed off, they'll get bored, and they'll just switch off.
Right, okay.
It's really hard to get people back at that point. And I don't want to see Marvel Snap decline into nothing. I want to see it kind of come back in in a better way. But right now, they're resting on their laurels. If they don't do something over the next couple of months, I would definitely won't be playing it. And I could tell you one thing: the player base will migrate somewhere else by this time next year, because it's such a shame, because it's such a fun game when it's working. But right now, it just isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Just isn't. But I just wanted to get my soapbox, because I think it's important to kind of bring some expertise to the table.
Do you know what it is? It's something that, you know, the other person that plays Marvel Snap in the universe is listening to this podcast knows, and is saying that has that one solitary tear running down his face. He's like, he gets me. He gets me.
I hope so. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some people are there's still people still having a lot of fun with it, but
you only really have fun with it when you're winning. And these people, these content creators and stuff like that, like, granted, they can moan about it, but they're buying they're buying this shit. Like, they're funding whatever they're doing. Like, they're most of the time.
They're getting pissed off. I'm noticing it now. Like, even to the point where I think like Cozy Snap's probably the most prominent creator just now out there. You'll have other ones like Dexter, Nina. You'll also have like Alexander Kocha. There's lots, Binks, you name it. There's lots of them out there. And they're all just kind of like, you know, they'll do spotlight cash reviews, and they're like, these are all trash cards, because you get the one new card and they chuck the same like 3 ones that keep coming to the rotation.
Right, okay.
And it means that not only for experienced players, but it's new players as well. So how are they ever going to get their hands on these cards if you only give them like 1 or 2 weeks at the whole year?
Mm-hmm.
And because it's randomised, it's a lottery. So if you don't have the 4 spotlight keys, you are rolling that dice. Goosed. Unless you have tokens. And it's not the first time they've had to change it.
I get that, but surely that's kind of part of it as well then. Like, I don't think there should ever be a place where if you don't get it at that point in time, then your goose is cooked and you have to wait until, you know, the Lord shines down on you and you can get it. But also, you have to plan for it. Like, it's something you have to be prepared for. So
yeah, you do.
It's a tough one.
That's I have to do that on a regular basis, which is I engage with the content, I engage with the community, I look at the data leaks, everything, to be like, right, this is coming. This is why I know about the Marvel's rival sneezing seasons. God almighty. But this is why we know that that's coming. So it's like, right, I'm sitting on like a big bank of tokens, because it's like Doom 2042 is coming out. I want that card.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're someone that's just playing that casually, week to week, and it's like, that card looks cool, you buy it, it's a dud, because not every one of them hits. Then next week, that's the one that shakes the meta up, and then every game you go into, you're missing that one card.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the top 10 decks of the week in the meta, it's not even just one card, it's 2, 3. It's starting to grow, but it's like,
makes sense.
That deal looks cool, but I'm missing this, missing that, and it never comes up in the caches, blah blah blah. So yeah, just I'm a big fan of the game, I love it, but being honest, it feels like it's starting to slip away a little bit.
Makes sense.
So we'll see. I
mean, it wouldn't be Marvel if it didn't completely fuck something up. So,
well, you can't stay on top forever. But then again, you know, I think when it comes to the films and all that and anything else, I'm optimist. I'm like, the only way's up. That's a good way. I'd rather be there than the opposite. You know,
that's true.
The only way's down. So, all to play for.
I thought you bought something as well tonight.
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, so it could be a segue into the main topic, of course.
He's wetting his whistle again.
I know. I've left the radiator on, guys, so it's absolutely roasting in here. So yeah, I was browsing the Black Friday deals, just thinking, what shite is out there? Well, I found the shitiest shite. A bargain.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. One that you would know that I would buy when it dropped in price. £13 sterling. I have purchased Suicide Squad.
Oh my
Kill
god.
the Justice League.
Oh my god.
For science.
Oh
for content.
God.
So I'm going to go in and see how bad is it? Big question mark. But that's what Black Friday is about. If you don't see
Do you know what?
anything good,
Aye.
Dive in.
If there's ever a time as any, as you say, you normally have like a kind of pang to play your Arkham games. So
yep.
this might fill the hole
Aye, I'm hoping so. I do want to see it for that.
And do you know
part of it,
what?
but
Aye, it's also telling a story as well. So
for 13 quid,
I mean, you could buy a coffee and a cake at Starbucks for 13 quid.
Could buy half a Big Mac for that these days. Absolutely sky high prices over there. But aye. So I thought I would share that live on here.
That's outrageous.
You called it. You knew it was happening. But as soon as that drops in price, I would strike into it's 80% off.
That's not bad.
Until the 2nd of December on the PlayStation Store. And that's cheaper than you can get it physically. So if you're curious about the Suicide Squad, it's probably as good a time as any to kind of jump in and just kind of get that. And I've got an obsession with dead games. So yeah, but we should move into the main topic, of course. Speaking of which, and this week's main topic is of the Christmas gamer buying guide. So we've actually did a wee bit of research this week, haven't we, Scott? Because really the exam question for us, I suppose, was what games we're talking about. It's that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
We're all having to go spend, shop, Christmas time's upon us. And it's not just for old farts like ourselves. There could be old farts like ourselves that having to buy for younger ones. So we asked, what games did they actually want to play this Christmas? And we went out and we asked the youth of today on the masses, chasing them. Excuse me, what game do you want? No, we actually reached out to members of our own family as well, didn't we? Just to ask that question.
To canvas
them, indeed. So, Scott, I've kind of broke this down into kind of 3 groups here, just to kind of capture where they're at, because we talk about games from a very different perspective. That's one thing I've learned since kind of talking to them, and I'm looking at it from the 3 different groups. So I'm thinking about age 3 to 5, probably then between, I don't know, about 6 and 12, and then 13 and up.
Mm-hmm.
So for 3 to 5, so that's right in our wheelhouse here. So we've got our kids are looking at games now. Anything you think is top of their list just now that you know?
It's a tough one because the only child in my family that's between 3 and 5 is my own child.
Yep.
And she does not want a video game. Like she doesn't see anything on the TV and goes, "Ooh, I want that." Mm. It's very much if she sees it in a shop and she wants it, then we'll buy it.
Yeah.
The other, my nephew, he's just hit 5, so I think for him, when I was talking to him about it, it was very much he's big into Minecraft.
Oh, right.
Like enormously into Minecraft, and he's slowly making his way. He's got a Nintendo Switch Lite, which is the greatest wee thing on earth.
Yeah,
just complete gateway drug into gaming, and you don't have to worry about breaking Joy-Cons and stuff. But for him, it's he's starting to touch on things like Fortnite and stuff as well. So I think for this year he was looking for like V-Bucks, it's just like the usual nonsense. For him, not at that age, he's not very keen on like you're talking about, your wee one playing Super Mario Odyssey. Like there's no interest in anything like that there. Mm. I think the only other thing, because I was talking to him about it, and he'd said that he'd seen someone, or he said he played it at his friend's house, and he was talking about Mario Kart. It was just like, yeah, that's how we all start.
Yep.
So I think that'll be getting bought as cheaply as humanly possible. So we'll probably get it in like a normal game shop for about 75 quid now.
See you coming.
Or if you go to Sports Direct, you could maybe buy it for 120 odd pound.
Aye, or 10 of the massive pot ones.
That's it. That's the only reason why anyone goes into Sports Direct anymore, for massive mugs. But aye, that's kind of the conversation that I had with him was very much just, it's not really one game that he's looking for, it's just add-ons for games that he's maybe already got.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Like,
interesting.
He's staying within an ecosystem rather than broadening his horizons. But that comes later. That does come later.
Okay, doke. Well, I suppose same everything. I totally agree with you. Like for me, it's Nintendo's king.
Yeah.
I think of my son, it's like anything on the Switch, but he's big into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I noticed that Mutants Unleashed is currently under £20 just now at like Smiths and Argos and stuff. So I'm tempted to pick that up for him, but I did check it out online, and I'm like, that does look like it'd be a nightmare for him to play because it's like third-person action. I will say though, with pulling on that thread, if you've got kids there about that age, lots of good Switch bundles going out just now, particularly from Nintendo. But I would say be wary, because Switch 2 is on the horizon. We know that that's going to be dropping the announcement anytime between now and March. So a cheap deal today could very well kind of be old news tomorrow, and the Switch is getting a bit leggy.
Aye.
And particularly if that's what interests you. It's, again, not everybody's sad like us and wants the new shiny thing, but if you do, it might be worth saving the cash and splurging it later, because I know myself personally, if I bought anything and then like 3 months later the new version came out that I could have just bought instead, I'd get pretty pissed off about it.
Aye, that's
cusses.
But at that age, I don't think they know different.
They don't,
it's, I wouldn't be, so how to word this correctly, it would be remiss to say don't buy it, because ultimately, Santa's got to come somehow. He's got to empty his sack, but and there's a Switch in there somewhere, but
Jesus Christ.
what do you call it? If you're going to be getting them a handheld and you want to buy them a Switch over Christmas, buy the damn thing, because in 3-4 years' time the Switch 2 is going to be there anyway, and that'll be the main console for them for a while. So
but you're right though, the Switch Lite,
it's
really
the best thing.
Had one for
it is the best thing that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh my god, this is what the Switch should have been.
Yeah, it's such a robust little thing as well. No, it really is a wee wonder, that machine. But yeah, we move on to, we're getting into meatier stuff now. So thinking now, if you're looking at kids between 6 and 13, I'd say, I went and spoke to my nephew, who's 10, so he's like smack bang in the middle of it all. So I asked him, what's your favourite game now? FC25, unsurprisingly, right? And I was like, what other games do you play? Because I really wanted to get into the idea of like, what is the trends, like what are they all playing just now? And so it's Rocket League, Fortnite, and Fall Guys. And I said, so it's all multiplayer games, right? It's the same things you mentioned. They're staying in ecosystems, which I found fascinating. And then I said, would you not play any single player stuff? She said, yeah, we'll play Astro's Playroom if I'm bored. And that's the way, very much like single player games is what you do if there's nothing else to do, which is amazing. I'm like, wow, would not have guessed that at all. But he says about 80% of the time he's on multiplayer stuff. So then I asked him, right, so what is it you're looking for Christmas this year? What are you asking Santa for? And I did stress that because I didn't really know what.
I hate that. I hate it. Aye.
If I knew or not. So I was like, what are you asking Santa for? He was like, GTA. I was like, all right. It's a GTA 6. I'm like, right, okay, that's not out yet, but okay.
I mean, you can try.
Aye, that's what I said. He says, good luck with your dad letting you play that if Santa brings you. And Black Ops 6 was the next one. Console-wise, I was just like, okay. It was PS5 Pro. And I said, why that? Because I thought a 10-year-old PS5 Pro. And he's like, because it's the newest one and it has all the best graphics. I'm like, wow. Like, it just goes.
How do you know that?
Exactly, because he's not sitting listening to podcasts and maybe YouTube ads and all that. They'll get information and playground banter. But I was like, wow. So if kids that age are asking for a PS5 Pro,
that's wild.
My heart goes out to
How long has he had his PS5 for?
A year.
Or does it? Right, okay. So I was going to say, fucking hell, right? Because that's the same as mine, basically. So, my nephew is primary 7, so kind of teetering towards high school, and very much like he is the Fortnite child. If you've ever the quintessential Fortnite child, has all the skins, speaks the Fortnite language.
Nice.
Like, will play other games in presence, but if you're talking to him and you want to talk to him about something, talk to him about Fortnite. So it is very much like having that conversation with him about it. And it was like, if you're playing anything single player, what is it? And it was just like, he's not. Like, all of his mates are playing Fortnite with him.
Yep.
He'll maybe play FIFA or EAFC. He'll play that with, his dad. But ultimately, if he's playing anything, he'll play Fortnite, and he can play it with the wee one as well. So it's like they can still play together. And it was just like, do you want anything else? And no mention of a PS5 Pro because he's just got his PS5. So it's just like, and doesn't know much else about it on top of that. But again, it is very much like he wants in-game currency for Fortnite. Like,
damn V-Bucks, man.
he does. He just wants to buy skins, and that's cool.
Yeah,
but it's not like. So the other day I was looking at I was talking to his mum about it, and she was showing me pictures of things, and he draws.
Yeah.
So he spends a lot of time. It's not just like, park himself in front of Fortnite and sits and plays that all the time.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
He'll sit and draw, and he's drawing pictures of the skins that he's got.
That's
so
amazing.
he got like a Snoop Dogg skin, and he's drawn this picture of it, and it's phenomenal. Like, I've never seen a child draw hands better than I've seen an adult draw hands. Like, the hands on Snoop Dogg it was Snoop Dogg's hands, you know what I mean? So it was incredible, but it is just very much, he just wants things to just make his game look better, but he's like playing tournaments and all that in this now, like, like the tournaments on PlayStation, he'll be playing on them and all that as well, so and they encourage that. It's like, go and do it if you want to do it, like, it's fine. So
yeah, go for it.
It's just very much like that.
You never know, if he wins it, it can be lucrative business these days,
That's it.
I love that. I love the fact that it bleeds into other creative endeavours.
That's the
at
thing.
That age. I think that's really, really cool.
And it's something that I've wanted to always try and do myself, like try and document the playthrough of a game.
Yeah.
It was something that I was going to do with the Veilguard, and then I saw, Greg Miller had done it, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. You've ruined it for me, because I've always wanted to like draw pictures of moments in the game and like the recollections of memories. So if I ever look back on this and I can see what's happened in this game through the eyes of my Rook, but I've never done it, actually couldn't be arsed. But it's just nice to see that it is, it's not just a game. He touches it and then puts it down. It's more than that. So it's quite cool.
Awesome.
The next conversation was the most intriguing conversation that I had, though.
Well, I'll go first then, because I asked my nephew, and I knew straight away, because obviously familiar with your nephews as well. But mine's, he's going a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting more into the fitness side. So it's between the ages of 13 and 17, we're saying here. It's my nephew's 14, going 15. So he's getting into the fitness side of things, and, gym, protein, all that stuff. And I was asking him, I was like, are you playing much? And he plays football and all that as well. He's like, I'm not really playing too much. He very much looks at that as more of a tertiary type like activity. It's definitely more exercise than that comes first for him. But I was like, what are your pals playing? Because it sounds like they're a lot more into it. Rainbow Six Siege had came up, and I was like, okay, interesting. And he did say, I've got more of a bit of a passing interest, but he'll jump in. And that's free to play now, isn't it? So I was like, cool. And I was quite taken aback, because I'm like, well, testament to that game. But he says he's more into story-based games. And this is anyone's, and he couldn't tell me anyone's. But he does tend to enjoy ones that are more story-based. So I was like, okay, cool. But despite saying that, I was like, what kind of big games? Like I said, if I gave you a voucher today for your Christmas, and you could get any game you wanted with it, what one would you get? Black Ops 6. That's what I said. And then outside of that, he came out of the room, came back and says, oh, and we're still playing Fortnite. So can't escape it. But he did also add that, I says, in terms of consoles, where are you all playing and what are you all after at that age? And I was expecting it to be like my younger nephew, but it's like, for him, it was all PS5. Everybody was on that. Him, mix of PlayStation and Xbox, but he did say a lot of them are still on Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, this is all anecdotal, but I just found it interesting. But then he did add, they're all asking for PS5s this year.
Right, okay.
But this was a shocker. Higher on the list, apparently, than the PS5 was an Oculus.
Aye.
They're all asking for an Oculus.
Jeez,
I'm like, okay, cool. And then, by chance, my niece came in, and I asked her, because she's older, she's a couple of years older than my nephew. And I was like, what about yourself? Any friends playing, you playing? So I know she wouldn't, because like brothers are dominating it all the time. She's more into her mobile type games, but she's like, some of her friends do have PlayStation and all they play is Roblox. It's like, wow. I mean,
quote of the year.
It was obviously this isn't, this is hardly like top of the range like market and research, but it's good to get insight. But I'm really fascinated to hear what your nephews were saying.
So Nephews, I have twin nephews.
Mhm.
Both of them, I should know what age they are.
16 now, surely.
Nah, no, yeah, I
17?
think they're 15.
Huh?
They're 15 going on 16,
flies.
but they're about 40. Like they're 10 feet tall.
Collectively.
Absolutely, honestly, they're giants. If you're looming over you, but the two of them are very different in terms of the way that they approach how they want to play games.
Mhm.
So we'll call them, 1 and 2, right? Because it's easier to do that way. So 1 is very much multiplayer focused, very big on Fortnite because he's just been playing it for so long, and it is just the same way that we're talking about too much time and too much skin in the game, all of literally skins in the game, but has fallen foul of Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you playing that? Like, why do you want to play that? And it's like, well, it's free, and his mates are playing it, so that's where they all go to play, and it's something that they actively have to actually take part in. It's like with Fortnite, you can go and do your own thing, and it's daft. Whereas with Siege, it's very much, the team.
Yeah.
And they have to focus in on it. And they think, and he also thinks it's really funny that they can kill each other. So that was the conversation that I had with him. The second one though, so 2, again, we'll play Siege, we'll play Fortnite with his brother, but they only have one PS5 in the house. So they've got a PS5 and a PS4. And I have cleaned this PS4 multiple times,
That's
but
true.
it literally sounds like it's going to burst. And it was very much a thought of maybe I'll give them the PS5 when I'm finished with it. So the one that I sold, but no, like
no,
absolutely
money
not.
talks. Money talks.
So I was talking to him, and it was very much like, what are you playing? So we'll play Fortnite, we'll play that when he has the time in the PlayStation to himself. But this is the one that shocked me. So he is getting big into single player games. And we always have this conversation about what games are out there. So when Elden Ring came out, I was showing them Elden Ring, and they have recently gotten into it. And he's talking to me about like all these bosses fights in the game and stuff. He talked about Malekith recently, and I was like,
oh man.
And then he found the Black Blade and stuff as well, and I was like, that's it, the Black Knife Tish and everything. Like you're good. Go on.
Yep.
So then we were having a conversation about Shadow of the Erdtree, and I was like, if you're ready for it, like if you feel like you're ready for it, go for it. Like we can get you it, it's fine, or we can buy you give you the funds to do it. But the kind of two of them are very much like they want EAFC, but number 2, because he's playing single player games, is starting to look at games like God of War 2018.
That's brilliant.
Starting to look at Ragnarok and stuff as well. But the big one for him was, he was like, because he's played Elden Ring and because he has spoken to me about that, he's like, how was Black Myth Wukong?
Oh man.
And I was like, do you know what? That would be perfect for you. Like, it's the right amount of difficult, but also easy enough to get through. And it's huge. Like, this isn't a game that, obviously I finished it really quickly, but this is a game that could take you ages to complete.
Oh, easy.
And it would be such a fun time with it. So it was very much just having a conversation about that. But it's just interesting that he's going down the pathway of Souls-like games. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's all kind of similar games. Like the first single player game that he ever played was Elden Ring. Like, it's spoiled. It's like, how could you go back after that?
I know.
Like, go and play other games.
It's hardly going to run to Dark Souls Remastered at that point.
Well, that's it. Aye. So, I think for them, because I would love, they would never, like, the console for them wasn't for them, it was for their dad. Like, they got the PS5 because they got caught up in the hype and all that, and I think that they got really lucky when the actual consoles came out that a friend had bought 2.
Right,
so they got one off of them. But they would never go out and be like, I want a PlayStation 5 Pro, I want an Xbox Series X, I want all this, I want all that. It's very much, this console's there and that's theirs. But they are sports, everything sports, like golf, football. They're playing football every single day, basically. It's like disgusting. And as I say, they're about 900 feet tall, so
swing it in the box.
It's basically.
I mean, I think that's brilliant to hear. Like, if everyone that we spoke about is like that, it seems to be like the minority then are like kind of going into that hardcore gaming space, which is cool. And it ultimately, like, trend wise, like I remember reading somewhere that younger gamers now are spending a lot more times on old games and not really just buying and keeping up. And of course, that'd be the same when we were younger because you don't have disposable income, so your games had to stretch. I think for me, when I look at it, and I'm thinking to myself, if we were younger, it makes sense, because if we were in that ecosystem and had internet access, you would totally, and access to talk to your pals on the playground and all that, you would totally be like, download this game, it's free.
Yeah.
I mean, I took great joy telling my 10-year-old nephew about Marvel Rivals, and his face lit up, because it's like, does it have like Iron Man? Does it have Star-Lord? All the rest of it? I'm like, yep, they're in there, and it's free, and they're adding all the characters for nothing. Yeah, my brother-in-law's sweating in the corner. I don't. It is literally free, and that makes sense.
It's just your soul. You have to give up.
That's it. And I think as well, because he's a bit more old school, and I totally appreciate that as well, because I think games, the fidelity and all that now, it's like them playing GTA now is very different to us playing GTA, which is the top-down cartoony. Even GTA 3, you're taking the piss a wee bit, but it was still very cartoony. Whereas now, it's like, hiring a stripper in those games or going to strip clubs is a very different experience. You don't really want a 10-year-old seeing that. I mean, takes their own, it's up to you.
The worst thing about it is, back in the PS4 when GTA 5 first came out, I was in the strip club. I think it was like GTA Online or in the story mode or something. And someone on my friends list took a screenshot of it and sent me a picture of it, and it says, Scott Curry playing GTA 5 in the strip club. It's like, you bastard.
Love
Caught
that.
red-handed.
Love that. But I mean, it's I totally can see how the trend has gone that way, because if we were that age, you totally would be like, I want something new, or I want something to play with my friends, and if it's free, because there's other ones that even mentioned, and we'll get to this later, I suppose, but there's so many possibilities there, like so many options where you don't have to wait.
Yeah.
We spoke this last year, till Christmas to your birthday to get something new. And then when it does, they're very happy playing that. So give me some V-Bucks, give me something so I can go buy stuff
to support
some
it. Yeah, no, 100%. It was always like us when we were playing like Rocket League, for example, and we would always shell out £6 or £7 for like daft wee cars.
Jurassic Park
skins. Like, it's just that's it. Like, that's what you do it for. And it almost feels like you're cheating when you don't pay money for it. It's like, we can go and download Fortnite for free and we get everything in it. You don't have. I mean, we could still be playing with default skins at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could if you wanted to.
I think I still do.
Like, I don't think you do. You had a Moon Knight skin.
Oh, so I did actually. Yeah.
You probably have more skins than you realise.
Yeah, I need to go check it. In fact, I do actually, because I bought the season pass for the other Marvel season. And I played it for like an hour. Never went back to it. But it was fascinating. But as we know, this episode will go live on Black Friday, right? So we've talked about what the kids and that are wanting, but of course, what are we wanting? What's anybody wanting? And now's the time to kind of look at where we can get some good deals. And I think top of the list, it doesn't start and end with Black Friday. Like, I think it's always be on the look for to get the best value possible. Don't be like us and buy a PS5 Pro on launch day, because Argos will do it cheaper the next week apparently. So
fucking disgusting. It's disgusting. That's it though, is that you can get swept up and lost in the hype of Black Friday, because we'll all get a good deal then. But I mean, even if you just thought, let's have a look at EAFC, for example, right? You could buy that game tomorrow for 50 odd quid.
Yep.
But see, after Christmas, after thinking in January, you might even get it for like 35, 40 odd quid or something. Like,
easy.
It's just
easy.
It just takes some time. Like, obviously you want stuff for Christmas, but you might as well just be like saying, look, you might save a bit of money here.
You're right, because I think if you I always think about take a market approach.
Yeah.
So a game that hasn't sold tons is very unlikely to go on sale. It sounds daft. Usually it's the ones that have sold a lot, like EA, FC. They will very likely just be like, yeah, bugger it, we'll just chuck it in sale. And you're right, it's always in January I tend to find is a sweet spot. And it's not a January sale, It's just usually after all the hype sales have gone,
Yeah.
and you get the good ones, and it's always the same. Ubisoft are always big players. EA, they're always the ones that kind of do things like that. I think from a hardware perspective, it might be different.
Yeah.
Like I know, like this year, PlayStation have really, because we're 4 years into the generation now, so they've really went to town with their deals. I mean, for me right now, it was the PSVR 2 deal, and I'm looking at that and I'm like, man, if I wasn't buying a house, like, and it seems to be whenever I'm doing something that's significant, they drop the price in this thing, and I'm like, when will the stars align for me, please? So it will happen one day.
I thought you were going to say the 30th anniversary edition or something like that, like the DualSense or whatever.
The restocks happened last week and I was tempted, but I was like, again, we're midway through this process. And I'm like, no, that'd be stupid of me, because I really wanted the DualSense Edge, even though I've got one. It's like, I really wanted the grey one just for that new swag, but didn't need it. And I walked away.
Very sensible.
And I bought Alan Wake 2 instead. So, but that was growth, Scott. But I think hardware's different. Oculus are doing really good deals as well. Xbox in that as well. PS5 has came down. We were talking about this earlier. Like, we managed to get sellers PlayStation 5s after we got the Pro for pretty much the same price as what it's going for brand new. So it lined up very well. But yeah, it's like, it doesn't start and end with Black Friday. Like, you're bang on. Don't get caught up in the hype. Like, hold your nerve. If it's a wee fiver or a tenner out, what you're willing to pay, hold your nerve. It will come back down again in January. You'll see.
100%.
Definitely see.
And don't canvas a lot of different places as well.
Yes.
Like, we're going to talk about like things like the game collection. You know,
go for it.
The game collection. I'm big. Even just a passing look. It's like I'll go into Rightmove every single day and just look at houses around the area. Not because I want to move, just because it's just like ingrained in my soul that that's what I do every day. And I also go into Hot UK Deals every single day. Go into the gaming tab and just go down the list of all the different games and stuff that have come out. It's amazing. Like, it's so stupid that I just love doing it. And yeah, kind of things like Reddit and stuff as well. Like, there's a lot of people on Reddit that have a lot of information as well.
They do.
But that's very specialist and you need to know where to look. But I'd say start with Hot UK Deals, and then that usually takes you place like the game collection. Currys usually do pretty good deals as well.
Yes.
Like, for brand new games, even like Nintendo games and stuff as well. Like, I think that both of us have really have hit the sort of jackpot with Currys. Sometimes you can get a game that's 55, 60 quid down to like 40 when it comes out, because you get like a good 10, 15 pound off it. It's class. But things like that, I'm trying to think of any other gaming websites like Shop2.
Shop2 is another one.
Don't know if it's still as good as it previously was, but
Argos as well. Jump up with a good deal. Smiths as well.
Smith is great, actually.
A lot of good deals, and you're talking. Sometimes it might save you a couple of quid. Sometimes it's, a tenner.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe good. Sometimes maybe shit, as to say. So it's it just depends. I think the Hot UK Deals one's such a good shout, and especially now, if you're buying for a loved one for Christmas, because obviously this is a time of year. It's like retail spend is up because we're having to buy gifts and stuff like that. And as always shop about.
Yeah.
And see if you can't get it now. If you know someone that's like, they really wanted, I don't know, let's say Dragon Age, right? And it's like, oh God, 70 quid. It's a bit rich for my blood, but I really want to get them something. All else fails, get them a voucher for whatever store their console's on, and that's worth its weight in gold.
Do you know what as well?
It'll come down in price by the time you use it.
There's a stigma around this, right? And I don't really understand why, because it basically kept me going through every single year of my life in gaming. But don't be afraid to go pre-owned.
100%.
Like, pre-owned now, maybe back in the days of PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, your discs were, they were getting scratched to all hell because you were idiots and you didn't know how to look after them. But PlayStation 5 discs, like, I don't think I've ever seen a scratch on any disc that I've ever had on the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4.
No, they don't have it long enough to make the damage.
Exactly. So don't be afraid to jump into like your local CEX and have a look. Support local game stores as well. Like, go into like wee smaller shops and stuff as well. Like, don't be afraid to kind of canvas around. And remember, CEX has got online as well.
Yep.
So you can jump on there and have a look at that at the same time.
Also, things like eBay sellers fees are gone,
Yeah.
so you'll get a lot more pre-owned on there, and even things like Facebook Marketplace. Don't get me wrong, that may be the last resort because you never really know who you're dealing with.
I know,
but
it depends what
it's
you're
out
looking
there.
for. Like, if you're looking for retro stuff as well, like Gumtree, I find
as
a
well.
lot of joy on Gumtree if I want to go and buy like a
Vinted.
yeah.
There's another one.
It's a lot of different places like that. Like it's kind of things that you don't really expect. But I'm a big advocate of. I know CEX gets a bad rep because you sell a game for 45 quid and then they sell it on for 60. But that's the game.
It's a business, isn't it? Like,
that's what you pay for. So it's really down to what you're comfortable with, and you might be lucky. Like if they were looking for Dragon Age for Christmas, like you might get lucky. Somebody might have traded in. Somebody might have traded in a copy of Dragon Age recently. So have a look around. Like you don't have to always go brand new, especially with these games now. Like it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't, because it's, unless you're absolutely an advocate for digital stuff. But you're right. This is why physical media is king, because there's value in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's value in it all along the chain, whether you're buying or selling.
Yeah.
So it's always worth getting. Absolutely, and consoles as well.
Yes.
I think it's, especially, you can suss it out if you're in like a CX or something. You know it's going to be cleaned out. You know it's going to have everything refurbished there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're buying it from a private seller, just investigate the pictures and stuff like that. But there's ways to kind of get around it at this time of year, because there's a lot of pressure. Things are expensive.
Yeah.
So it's really important that we just get as much value for money as possible. Sincerely, stereotypical Scotsman. But every penny's a prisoner. I think, is there any game that you would be tempted by if you saw it in a sale right now? Or is there any game you've got your eye on, you're hoping comes down in price at this sale season?
To be honest, I don't know. To be honest with you, I can't think. Do you have one, and let me think about it? Right, you explain, and then I'll have a quick look, because I'm sure there's something, because you know what I'm like. I'll buy anything, but because I'm playing Grand Theft Auto at the moment, I can't think of anything but.
No, the one that's top of my tree just now, to be underneath my tree, is Life is Strange Double Exposure, a game that I had actually believed for the longest time was coming to Game Pass. I don't know why. I think it's on that Xbox showcase, and I'm pretty sure they said it was. Anyhow, I'll die in that hill. But I was going to buy it, but of course, just like, nah, things around us has changed. So I hold off on that. Dragon Age instead. One was enough. And I was very much just, I know in my soul, right now it's like £45. And I know as soon as I buy that, that's in the December or January or something sale. So I'm holding off until it's at least £25 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will spring for it. And I will have my way.
Have your merry way with it.
You know yourself, that has got slash sale written all over it.
Yeah.
And there's some games that you just, we've been doing this long enough, especially things like, I mentioned before, like Ubisoft games, Star Wars Outlaws, that came out in August. That's already getting slashed to buggery.
No, definitely. To be honest with you, I'm looking at the list of games that are out, and I can't actually tell you any one that I want. Like, maybe actually, no, now that I've seen it, I do. The Dragon's Quest remake.
Yes.
Yes. I really want it, but I don't want to have to spend so much money on it. So that'll maybe be one that I'll ask, the wife to pick up for me, or
Santa.
Just wait. Aye, Santa.
If Santa's got connections.
He can make it. He can burn the disc. What'd you call it? But it's just, I'm not in dire need of a game for the moment, so I'm not 100% sure, but something will come up. I know what I'm like.
Aye. I think as well you might be humped because JRPGs very rarely drop their value. Although you never know with remakes, I suppose, but I'm kind of intrigued by that as well. But if you find a good deal, let me know.
I'll let you know about it. But as I say, it's the first year in a while that there's not been much. Like, the way this year has gone, I've tried to get through as many games as humanly possible. I've probably played more games this year to completion than I ever have. Yeah. And if I hadn't done, this might have been the year that I'll have got Dragon Age for Christmas, or I would have got, something else for Christmas. Like, metaphor or something like that. But
yeah.
for the purpose of this podcast, I'm buying it day one, trying to get it finished as soon as possible so we can talk about it. Next year might be slightly different because, new homes and inflation is getting worse unless the games press wants to actually give us keys for games, please.
Well, that's it, yeah.
But
then we can be accused of taking briberies.
And you know what? Accuse me. I'm the grifter of this podcast. Accuse me. Let's make Games great again. My God, I can't even say it.
Oh God, I mean, he's a schlub.
That's but what I have to say. It's the first year in a while that I've not wanted something. I'll maybe just get clothes for Christmas. Pure boring. I'm telling you, socks are the best thing about Christmas.
I think we should. That's a good point to add though as well. It's like, because FOMO's real. We are buying and selling these games, so we've got something to discuss on this podcast, and that's outside of the ordinary. I would say that wouldn't normally happen. So, yeah, just take full advantage. It's your cash. Don't pay the sticker price. Just get a good deal.
Just wait.
Do it for us.
Do it for us.
You know what I mean?
Tell them your old dad sent you.
I believe in you. I believe in you. But anyway, I digress. I think it's time for us to move on to the Pixel Picks Showdown, Scott. It's that time. So, it's time.
It's time
to discuss what we think is going to be this week. It'll be the best free-to-play game. Now, of course, for those unfamiliar, it's the Pixel Picks Showdown. So each week we each pick a game from our chosen theme, and we decide which one deserves to live on in the hallowed Pixel Picks list, which is our definitive list of the best games we recommend to pass on to the next generation of gamers. Now, last week's theme was Game of the Year winning game, with The Last of Us Part 2 becoming the latest addition to the list in a hotly contested episode, which I do recommend you go back and listen.
It's disgusting.
It was fantastic, though.
Absolutely disgusting.
And
I'm still angry about it as well.
You were the source of your own demise. You left it all down to chance.
I'm so bitter.
Never trust the coins.
I trust
the coins.
The coin has never failed me.
I said last week. Of course, as I mentioned, this week's showdown, we're going to be debating what the best free-to-play game is we should feature on the Pixel Picks list. Now, as always, last week's winner goes last. So, Scott, you're about first, and let's get to it. What is, and I have a funny feeling we'll have the same pick this week. It won't be like last week, but what is your honourable mention and your pick this week for best free-to-play game?
Free-to-play game. Okay, so I have my honourable mention, and I also have the pick. The way that I thought about this was it's a total head versus heart conversation here.
Oh, right, okay.
Because my head is telling me if I pick one, it is the obvious clear winner. And and I mean, there is no argument.
Yeah.
I won't accept any argument, right? But the heart is just telling me that I want to go for this game because it is the free to play game that I personally had the most fun with, and the hours put into that game really make the point here. So the honourable mention for this week is the head choice, and it is Fortnite.
Okay.
I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it is the choice for this. Like, this should be this because it is literally the only choice for it. It has been free to play since its inception. I think you could have paid for it, maybe in the past.
It was the
PvE thing.
Aye, the PvE
but
version.
Soon got shot of that. Aye. And as I say, you could be playing this game with all the updates, everything included, for nothing, which is
crazy,
disgusting. You could play Lego Fortnite, you could play the Guitar Hero one with your controller, you could play the racing game, whatever it is. Go and play it. It doesn't make sense. It's a hub. It's a hub, and you can community create stuff. Like, it's wild. This is a game that never ends, and it could go on forever. This is the reason why we have Call of Duty now has its own hub, because you kind of do it from that, but it has lived through generations now. Like, it's wild, and if anything, it's the success story of our generation, I would say. Like, easily. Nobody could have seen this coming. When this game first came out, it was like, all right, okay, and then they hit upon the the skins, they hit upon this factor, and then it was just like bang, everything. The universe just exploded and everything's there.
Yep.
It's like when you see, I can't even remember his name now, in Final Fantasy VII, the old guy with the solar system.
Oh, yes.
And it's just the whole solar system's there, and that's just Fortnite, and it's just never ending. And the gameplay is the gameplay, but you've still got people who they make their living on this game, which is disgusting. Like when we used to do a website, and we used to write for this website, and one of the first stories that we ever wrote on that, or I ever wrote on that, was about people who were making money by selling their Fortnite accounts.
That's right, yeah.
Because they had loads of wins, loads of skins and stuff. But that is the choice. That should be the choice, but I can't in all good faith make that my choice, because it wouldn't be reflective of what I actually think. Because for all of its positives, Fortnite ended the minute everything else came out. You know what I mean? Like we get caught up in other games, and once you fall out of love with Fortnite, the only time we ever went back in was when it was no build, and it was really fun. It was class, but after that, it loses its fun, and then you can't be arsed anymore. And also for that moment where our good friend jumped off that thing to try and save me. It's like aim for the bushes and tried to save me and died halfway through it. But I digress. But no, the choice for this week is clear. In my head, my conscience is clear picking this, because we have played this game together pretty much every single time we've played it. Couldn't tell you how many hours it was, but it must be veering into the hundreds of hours that we've put into this game now over multiple accounts.
If it is what I think it is, I can tell you the amount of hours.
So the game that I've picked is Rocket League.
Yeah, 270.
It's disgusting. that shouldn't happen. Like it's frightening. For a game that is so simple.
I know. Like
they tried to iterate on it. They've tried to do different game modes, but 3v3, where we played it, 3v3 football with your car. It's just, it
doesn't make any sense, but it does. It's when you play it, it's like, yes.
And it's the chaos of it, the control that you have of the car, the moment to moment gameplay where you make a save and you get that epic save flash up on the screen.
Yep.
When you score a goal, you get your boom, and then you get the mad animation. You can get the what do you call the Marshmallow Man from the Ghostbusters walking out?
Stay Puft.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. You've got your Jurassic Park car. I've got my van with the fez on it. I've always had this van with the fez on it. Like, it's just the most heartbreaking moment in that game is when we moved to different accounts and we lost all of the time and progress that we had, but we still have this amount of hours in this game. Like, we still went back for more. It was the teabagging at the end of the match because we'd always go up and down.
Yeah.
It's just, honestly, the moments in that game, and that's not even mentioning the abuse we used to give every single person that we played. Like, every single time they'd miss a save, it'd be like, good save. Every single time they'd absolutely sky a shot, great shot. And then it was always the 5-0s, the 6-0s, the 7-0s. Those were always Savlon time.
Yep.
And you know what they say about Savlon? You have to apply it generously.
You do.
I even learned Spanish for this game. Ogros no son como los pasteles, and I still remember it. Ogres are not like cakes. Honest to God, that game got us through life.
Oh man, it really did. It was like so many happy memories playing that game, and it is like some of the best multiplayer. It
shouldn't, like, every game is the same, but it's just the moments in it, like, it's so good.
It was a very good pick. There's a reason why I didn't pick it in either of mine.
You're a heathen.
I know. It's because it is easily my favourite game out of the lot. I'd argue the best. But I mean, it still could win.
He wants to win. That's the thing.
Still could win because a principle. The reason why I didn't pick it is because it was only been free to play for like 4 years. It wasn't free to play on launch.
Still,
but I didn't want to get
splitting hairs.
I know, but then we got into technicality in case like somebody looks at this list to the annals of time. It's like, wait a minute, This wasn't always free
through
to
the
play.
annals of time.
Exactly. Well, for me, honourable mention, I went a different route. I was just thinking about impact, really. So I actually thought Call of Duty Warzone for me is an honourable mention, just purely because it's piggybagging off the success of other trends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's proved that it could stand the test of time. It's albeit not in smooth a manner as the pick of the week, but blending that COD style gameplay, just making tweaks to make things not as Twitch based, and it was just a perfect recipe for success because people want to play Call of Duty, and it's a free version of it.
Would you agree or disagree that Blackout was better?
Personally, yes, I had more fun in Blackout, even though it's like the progenitor of it all. I personally, it's the reason why it's not my honourable mention. I've went down the impact route of it, just giving it, its flowers.
Because I know what you mean.
I don't enjoy Warzone myself because I find it frustrating. Because
I also don't think the people who play it enjoy it. Like moment to moment, any person that you hear talk about playing Warzone is like they love it, but they absolutely fucking hate everything about it. It's like,
oh yeah, I
that's
think you can say the same for any battle royale.
Battle royale, aye,
because it can be quite a sleepy time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're going to
especially the way we play it.
I know.
I think I've only ever won one game of Warzone in my life, and it was a night where I came home pissed from a night out, and I thought I'm going to stick Call of Duty on, and I never ever talk into the mic, like unless I'm talking to you, I'm never on the mic.
Yeah, same.
But this was the one night that I did it, and I remember just being like calling out where these people were, and we won the game, and that was it. The only time I've ever won it.
Nice. Well,
it felt great.
I made my actual pick this week, of course, was Fortnite. You know, that's when the first thing that came to mind was I sort of thought free to play was Fortnite, like the Mac Daddy. It just changed the landscape.
Mm-hmm.
The potential of all free to play games. I remember beforehand it was always there was success stories, of course, like Warframe and stuff, but they never became.
It's not ever. I don't think you can dismiss Warframe like that.
Not dismissing
it's
it.
Not. It's because it's a different.
Success.
It's a different kind of success. Like Fortnite is, you know, culturally, phenomenal. But Warframe was always like the thing that like your uncle would play. Like your weird uncle would be like, "Yeah, I played Warframe and still playing it, and it's still getting updates."
Aye. I think for me, the thing that captivates me about Fortnite, even though it's not something like you had mentioned, we're not playing it all the time. You know, I feel my age when I'm playing it.
Mm-hmm.
I find it frustrating at points, but I do appreciate the fact that when things are coming together, and even now, you don't have to just go for the victory royale with cheese. You could basically just go and do side objectives. So they've even managed to kind of make a game within the game. And it's so impressive how they've layered stuff on top of it. But for me, it's like, I'm so impressed that it's replaced action figures for kids of a certain age. You know, it's the default cool thing for kids to play, and they want the skins.
It's still a shock to me that we haven't had the film yet. Like,
the
movie is, well, and it's going to like...
has to come.
It's literally going to... I'm scared. Like, it's like Ready Player One, but it'll be good. Like, do you know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, that's Spielberg.
Fuck you. Come at me, Stephen. But no, it's
so easy to take Fortnite for granted, though. And it's
as we said before recently, it's like
yeah.
It's one of those games that it's just expected to be good. Like it could be Game of the Year. If we're talking about DLCs and stuff being Game of the Year, it could be Game of the Year every single year.
Yeah.
Like, because it does something different and it does it perfectly. Like you seldom hear, maybe because we're not, plugged into the Matrix, but you know me.
Or are we?
I'm out of the Matrix. Brah. But it's one of those things where you seldom hear massive groans of disappointment from people who are playing Fortnite, because it's like it's always doing really well. It's always balanced perfectly. Like there's always mad events. It's like you've always got like the thing like, did they not shut down the servers for like a week? They said like a meteor hit and they just shut the servers down and just nobody could play it for ages.
Like, to reset it to season 1 or something like that.
Something like that would completely stop any hype for any other game. But the way that they do it is just incredible. And they've somehow managed to get The Rock in that game and people not hate him.
Yeah.
Because The Rock, as we said before we started this podcast, he is human. He used to be like the social media phenomenon. Like, he could do no wrong. Any film he touched, anything he was in was gold.
Franchise Viagra, as they called them.
And he is now such a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's like...
overexposed.
He's the Rylan Clark of movies. It's like he's fucking everywhere and you cannot stand him.
So I'm going to say the Ryan Reynolds. It's like,
I mean, I could make an argument for Ryan Reynolds as well, but
he knows when to go away, I suppose. But you're right, The Rock, just go away. I think for what you mentioned there about the fact that they can do that, like, they can reset the game. They've made all these additions to it. It's not just, Battle Royale.
You can be Ice Spice in it.
Whenever new seasons drop, whenever a new collab drops, you could be Ice Spice in it. But it's like, it's phenomenal because there's an excitement and there's a buzz every time. It's the way that they've got this perfect foundation to just add stuff to it, and there's nothing like it. And the thing that I don't like about it is that it was such a success. It's created the trends, and you've seen things, like let's chase the, always online shooter trends and battle royales and free to play, and we'll milk them through microtransactions and all that pish.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't work. Like, you'll never see something like Fortnite again. There's not going to be another Fortnite.
Nah.
And that is like that generation Super Mario and stuff. Like, that's what they will know.
Yeah.
And they'll have podcasts in 15 years' time talking about, oh man, remember Fortnite? And, they're probably still playing it.
For me with it, what I would love to see is I'd love to have a peek behind the curtain, the Fortnite curtain, and just see how it works. Mm. Like, who is the Wizard of Oz in this curtain? Bringing it to a Wicked chat,
That's it.
Because Liam's going to go and see Wicked next week, and we'll come back with a review.
3 times.
But it's just, you seldom see who is the Hideo Kojima of Fortnite. Do you know what I mean? Like, who are the brains behind this game? Because every single decision that they've made on this game has been a fucking home run. Like, it is wild.
What I appreciate is that they've masterfully built lore around their own game.
It's stupid, and it's stupid.
But they've done it in a way that does incorporate Marvel characters and, rap stars and you name it. Lego. Like, it's became the everything.
It's Smash.
Everything game.
It's the Battle Royale Smash Ultimate. Like,
it really is.
We have everyone is here.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's just madness. Like, you could be a banana, and on your team you've got Spider-Man who's getting shot down by Peter Griffin and Snoop Dogg's in the corner building a house. Like, it shouldn't make any sense. It's
the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, but it's all there. Like, it's one of those games that you really have to be into to enjoy it, though. Like, it's I aged out on it because I'm not the builder. I can't be arsed doing all that, and I couldn't. But I watch my nephew playing this game, and it's like on a controller. It is wild.
Yeah,
I watch my other nephew, the younger one, that using a mouse and keyboard to play it on his PlayStation 5, and it's like the stuff that he's doing on this. I'm like, oh my god,
it's mental. Like, they've built a 5-star hotel by the time I've reloaded. I'm like, I've got no chance.
Sitting there dining in the Ritz, popping your head off.
To come back to your choices, though, it's like Fortnite's the obvious choice, right?
It's the easy choice.
I think Rocket League is a better game. You know what I mean? I do.
It's a personal thing because it is very much like.
No, I'm feeling Maverick because I think this is about the best game. Now, when we've talked about the phenomenal and cultural significance of Fortnite, which of course that has in spades. But is it a better game than Rocket League? No, I don't think so. I think Rocket League wins that one because of its simplicity. And yes, did they not add like?
I think there's a Rocket League in Fortnite.
It's in Fortnite, and you could make that case. But I'm like, as good as Fortnite is, it's not a bad game. But I think Rocket League is so much better. Like,
I wouldn't argue with it, but I don't. And again, this is stupid because we're now arguing for each other's choices, right? But I don't see how you couldn't. I don't know. I don't see how you could say free to play game and it not be Fortnite. Like, it's right. It's like best sandwich filling, and it's always going to be ham and cheese. Like,
best
thing, best
quintessential,
like
it?
best, I don't know, name something controversial that people like.
Well, if you were to go into
Best Friends character, Ross. Like, that is the answer. And I'll fight every Friends fan because it is Ross.
Though actually, it's always a fight between him and Chandler.
Nah, Ross. Ross is the way to do it. Aye. But it's just that is the answer. Like, you're going to look back, somebody's going to open up a time capsule from the 2010s, 2020s, and it'll just be filled with Fortnite nonsense.
You're right.
And it'll be the default song.
Yeah. But, well, one last time before we have the deciding blow on this, right? You could look at it in another way.
Okay.
Right? Because sometimes the most popular and culturally widely known doesn't necessarily mean the best. So, if we look at the music industry, for an example, right? And it's all a matter of taste at the end of the day. But you could argue that, say, Teletubbies had sold.
I've got a better one.
Right, okay, here you go.
It is Fortnite is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, Jesus, right, okay.
And Rocket League is The Rock.
Okay.
Both of them excellent in their own right. But I like The Rock better.
Yeah, I'm also the same.
So it's like, I think looking back in time, people will always say that the Attitude Era is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that kind of makes him the center point of it.
Mm-hmm.
But not everyone else, but most people preferred The Rock.
Yeah, it's more entertaining.
So
better wrestler as well.
I can't think of anything but wrestling terms now. It's so stupid.
Yeah, no, I think for that reason, because it's best game and not most culturally significant game, I think it does have to be Rocket League.
Goes to be Rocket League.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue anymore. I'm going to stay quiet on this because I don't win anymore. So
no, if you are not arguing, then I think we crown it. So
I'm happy with it.
Well done to Rocket League because you've now been named the best free-to-play game on the Pixel Picks list. Come at us, children.
The Rock of video games.
There you go. You're not, two moves, Steve Austin. So that brings us to the end of this week's podcast.
What are the two moves? The Luthez Press and the Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
Maybe three.
Stomping a mud hole.
That maybe four. We'll give him four because then he jumps on top of them and pretends to punch, but it's just his elbows.
That's the Luthez Press.
There you go. Just that's mince. Honestly, there you go.
Do you know? Sorry to interrupt the end of this, but do you know in his heyday, back in that era, he was making $16 million.
I mean, fair play.
And he earned every fucking penny of it.
He really did.
Like, carried that company on his arse.
Basically, he brought the entertainment side of it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that we love Stone Cold for. But the in-ring stuff, it was like, just get to the Stunner, let's move on.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't really known. I would argue. Like if it's not like you're watching Shawn Michaels. It's like, right, we're in for a treat.
Oh, aye, yeah.
A technical masterclass.
What was it? Shawn Michaels was, good stuff. I was trying to link. I was trying to come back to like Stone Cold ET, but I can't. I'd be a tenuous link at best. So I'll leave it there.
Well, of course, as I was mentioning, it does bring us to the end of the podcast. That's your wrestling fix for this week. So again, thank you once again for joining us. And if you like what you hear and enjoy the podcast, then leave us a wee 5-star review, share online. It helps us out and makes a massive difference. But it's test time, Scott. Where can people find you if they want to engage with you online? You
can engage with me at lamaman.bsky.social.
Love to hear it. And of course, you can find me there on Blue Sky at carmelite.bsky.social. Just come follow us. If you don't want to do that, then go follow the Pixel Parents account as well.
And see if you don't want to follow that, fuck off.
Say what you feel. And of course, a massive thank you to our producer and music man, the talented and handsome, and maybe featuring on the audio wave soon, Mr. Sean Murray. Thank you for all you do, Sean. He's the man that makes it all happen. He really is.
I said this before and I'll say it again. arguably the most important member of this team.
Yes, I would absolutely double down on that with you. I really would.
Does things on this show that I couldn't even do.
Yep, and there's things to come as well, which I'm really excited.
Oh,
Labour of Love, absolutely.
we're actually going to be, as a team, we're going to be covering Live Aid. We're going to be doing Do They Know It's Christmas?
Man, I heard the new one the other day. I can see what they're going for. Like, it's an improvement on Band-Aid 30, but it's just like, man, like you just can't top the original, can you?
What's your favourite part of the original?
Me, George Michael.
George Michael.
Yeah,
I like the Bono bit because he hates it.
Yeah, they tried to change it as well. Oh, I was reminded of that the other day. No, but obviously I'm a big George Michael fan. Of course, it is the season.
That is the season. Prepare for the pictures because they'll come thick and fast.
They will. It's a matter of days. And of course, you can listen to the next episode on all major podcast platforms, and of course, follow us on Blue Sky, as I mentioned before, at pixelparents.bsky.social. And if you want to get in touch, write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. But until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for listening.
There won't be snow in Africa this Christmas Day.